Hello, fellow Earthlings, and welcome to Deep Dive from the Hive, where we discuss modern day musician life, answering the call to create, and what it takes to actually produce what you believe in. I'm your host, Marv Ellis, the captain of this submarine. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, so let's batten down the hatches and get to it. Let's go. Yes. Check. 1, 2. I'm here. You're with us. We are about to submerge underwater with a freaking legend. Living legend. How does it make you feel when I say that?
It makes me laugh.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the building at the Hive right now, we have Alice DiMicele, the one and only. She's with us. She's here. Alice, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for
Welcome.
having me.
Yeah.
It's an honor. Nice to see everybody. In the ethers there somewhere, knowing, just vibing with you.
Yeah. So we have a big show on Friday. Mm-hmm. She will be playing here at the Hive with the full band.
No, with this full band right here.
You yourself?
Yeah.
Solo? Mm-hmm. Okay. You have so much going on. You've done so much. There's so many angles to your shape. You know what I mean? Like a tetra. You have 20 side. You're like a 20-sided die. I feel like I could just roll a die right now, and we'll pick which one of them you want to talk about. Even when I go to your website, it's like you do so much. You do philanthropy. You do the solo stuff. You're just very active. You're activism in the community. You have a lot of respect around here. It's not just here, but it's Country Fair. I mean, I'm Country Fair fam. You're Country Fair fam. There's that thing. We have that sisterly, brotherly thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So the point of this podcast is to talk about how you create, how you produce, how you feel the call to create. And for me, it's always important to know where you come from. So what I want to know was, how did New Jersey, where you began, I want to talk about your journey from New Jersey to here. What was little Alice in New Jersey like? Where were you born? Can we start there? It's hard to start.
So I grew up in a suburban little town, suburbs of New York, close to New York City. And I've always been kind of a dreamer. My grandpa used to call me his little flower girl because I was always like pretending I was somewhere else. I grew up in a town that had pretty good education and good people and a very diverse community. And I learned a lot living there. Little Alice was definitely a little dreamer. Little Alice was a dreamer.
Little Alice, I had to say Little Alice once. What was Little Alice like? You're dreaming.
I was a little dreamer.
Suburbs
I
of New
always
York.
wanted to play music.
Okay.
I loved music. I've always loved music. And my mom played the piano. And my mom is actually a really great piano player.
Okay.
And I didn't want to play piano. I wanted to play guitar. But I quit the flute in junior high school.
So that was the first instrument.
First instrument was the flute. And I quit because I didn't want to play marching band music. And then my folks were like, well, if you quit, we're not going to get you guitar lessons. So I was like, that's fine. So when I was in high school, I was in a band. I was a singer in a band. It was called White Rabbit. And then we changed the name to Eon Ocean. But we did like covers. And, I was really into Grace Slick at the time.
Okay. Who's Grace Slick?
From Jefferson Airplane.
I'm sorry. Can we pull up Grace Slick, Trevor? I need to get educated. I'm sorry. This
Your
is just.
dad knows.
I know my
back there.
dad. My dad told me stories of Jefferson Airplane, going to see him. My dad's in the building too. The Reverend 8 Dog. He's here. For those of you who know he's here. But glad to have you here too, Dad. But Jefferson Airplane, I grew up hearing about them.
Yeah, and she was just this powerhouse vocalist, and so I like did covers of their stuff and like Steppenwolf, and my buddy Alan I was in an amazing band. These guys were incredible. They were all like badass musicians. Okay. It was Alan Celeste on keys, Jimmy Costanza on guitar, and he was just like an incredible guitar player, and Anthony Biratieri on the bass, and he was just like a thumping badass bass player, and we had so much fun. And then George was on the drums, and it was a great band. So that was kind of my start, but then I really was like, I was listening to Neil Young and Joni Mitchell and all this stuff, and I really wanted to play the guitar. So my mom had a guitar. It was an old classical guitar. It was stuffed in the closet in our little den where we had the TV. And so I stole the guitar out one night. It only had 5 strings, and I called Jimmy up, the guitar player, and I was like, yo, teach me how to play guitar. But he lived like 35 minutes away, so, I couldn't like ride my bike over there right now in the night. So he taught me, he said, okay, hang up the phone, pick up the phone, listen to the dial tone. That's an A. That second big string down is an A. Tune it to that. If you can tune it to that, call me back.
That is the coolest shit I've heard in this minute on this podcast. You tuned your guitar for the first time to the dial tone of an A.
Yeah, because it's an A.
All right. Thank you.
The dial tone's an A. So I tuned the A, and then I got back on the phone with him, and he taught me how to tune the rest of the strings, and then he taught me how to play Sugar Mountain by Neil Young. And that's where it started.
But where did it go from there?
It just kept going.
We had Jefferson Airplane up there.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, look.
Oh, very cool.
See, we can look at things. We can talk about.
Yeah, there they are. Well, my first love, though, when I was 11 years old, my first true musical love was when my grandma gave me Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder.
That's why the Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder has been my all-time favorite inspiration. I mean, just all of his songs. And that whole album, I don't know if you're familiar with that album, but it is so incredible. It's a double album. And then there's these singles that came with 45s too. I have the vinyl. I still have my vinyl.
The pink.
Yeah, it's like, it's orangey.
Yeah, orangey, pink, swirly.
Yeah, what an incredible record. And just his musicality. I literally would listen to that album over and over and over again. I learned how to sing all the songs. I learned how to sing the horn parts and the piano parts. I just jammed with it. And that really informed me musically early.
What age is this?
So that album came out when I was 11, but I'd already been into some of his other things. But that was the first, my first album that I ever got was Fleetwood Mac Rumors.
Okay.
And then that was the second album I ever had. And I'll tell you, I still have that album, and I listen to it over and over and over again. It's just such a great... Songs in the Key of Life.
Okay.
Rumors is a great album as well. That's just so classic. And
so you grew up inspired, Fleetwood, Jefferson Airplane, Stevie Wonder.
Stevie's the main.
And then what happened next? What happened to that band?
So, the band, I started playing guitar, and then I, was going to leave high school. The band broke up or whatever, I was pretty young when I was in that band at first, and then the band broke up. I don't really remember what ended up. Those guys all still play music. They're all, I think, I don't know. I know Alan and Anthony still play music. I haven't been in touch with Jimmy or George in many, many years, so I don't know, but I'm assuming they still do. They were amazing musicians.
Probably do.
So I'm kind of guessing they probably still do.
Hey, send them a little message. Hey, Jimmy George, if you're watching right now, this lady never stopped. She kept it moving, and you need to reach out.
You're funny.
We need to catch up. I'm serious.
No, it would be great. Yeah. But anyway, that was a long time ago. And then I just started, started teaching myself how to play the guitar and teaching myself how to play songs, and it was awesome. I loved it because it was something I could do personally. And then I started writing. Pretty quick, I started writing. And the stuff I wrote back then, let's just say it wasn't that good, but it was practice.
Well, what sort of songs was, young, hungry, passionate, like, Alice writing?
I don't remember a lot of the stuff that I wrote back then. It wasn't really there was a few years where I just wrote a lot of stuff, which I kind of considered garbage. I mean, maybe it would be good. I mean, I wrote a couple songs with friends. I had a good friend, David Franklin, who was learning how to play guitar too. And we played together, and my buddy, Danny Lane, we practiced together. I don't think Danny and I ever wrote anything together, but we played together, and it was really fun. So, back in the day, it was great. I just, had friends that I'd play music with, and I learned a lot, and I was still in choir, and I was in orchestra, and I had this amazing orchestra teacher named Janet Lemansky.
Janet.
And hey, Janet.
Hey, Janet.
She knows I'm still out here. She was a great teacher, and she really just kind of she just cut me loose. She helped me learn some fundamental stuff on the guitar that I probably wouldn't have learned otherwise. Mm-hmm. And I also tried to learn the fiddle, and she kind of got me back to playing a little bit of flute in the orchestra, because I was really good at the flute, but I just didn't want to do, junior high school, it became marching band music, and I was like, going off to war. That's not really ever been my thing. I don't know. I'm kind of a hippie, so.
I ran into that wall sort of in middle school. Band wasn't inspiring.
Yeah.
And Emily had the same thing. Band wasn't inspiring. It wasn't like, it was military.
Yeah, so it just wasn't my
industrial
thing.
feel.
Yeah, it wasn't my thing, so I just kind of left it. But then I came back. So God, I haven't thought about any of this stuff in a really long time.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm excited. It's kind of nice. I mean, I get to think about these people that had a pretty big influence, especially my buddy Alan Celeste, who's living in North Carolina now, and he's just such an incredible piano player and musician, keyboard player. And
I wonder if we typed in his name.
I'm in touch with him. I could text him.
Would
right
he internet pop up on the internet?
Maybe. He plays with a bunch of people in North Carolina. He's quite a good guy. Yeah.
So you got this great foundation.
Yeah, I was really lucky that I had amazing people that were really supportive. And I was terrible at the guitar when I started. That's when you start anything, you're not good at it. So, but these guys put up with it. All my friends, I'd go to these parties and I'd play the guitar.
Yeah.
They'd be like, okay, you can play your 3 songs that you know.
But that was the way.
Yeah.
I noticed just from watching, this era, that the guitar, the voice was so powerful. And honestly, a lot of the music I grew up, that my dad listened to, was a lot of guitar driven singer-songwriter stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your Dylan?
Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder. Okay.
I mean, he's just, Stevie Wonder to me is just the best all around musician, songwriter. I mean, his songs are so deep. Mm-hmm. And, it really inspired me to want to say something, and say something that meant something. And it really taught me, for me, music, I'm not, there's plenty of people that are way better singers and way better songwriters and way better guitar players than me. But there's the thing that I do and the thing that I strive for is to make that connection and to sing about things that move people in some way. It's got to be for me, when I write, I'm writing, it usually is a very natural thing that happens. I rarely sit down and say, I'm going to write a song about blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's usually I feel inspired and something comes through, and then I follow it and I follow it, and then I edit it down and I do work it.
Yeah.
But I follow it down. I follow it towards the path where it's going in. But the ultimate goal is it's a vibration. It's about moving the heart, moving the soul, moving.
So can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Do you feel as if you're a conduit to some sort of thing passing through you?
Sure. Yeah.
Like the way you write.
I think so. I mean,
I feel that.
That's
when I
definitely,
write. I'm like, tick, 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 tick. I'm like, what am I even writing right now?
Where's this even coming from?
Who the hell is telling me to say that? That's really good. Where did that come from?
And I think part of it is just, for me, it's so emotional. And, I love all kinds of music and I love all kinds of artists. And many of my favorite songwriters are very heady.
Yeah.
And everything has to do, you know, it has to be the perfect. It's just very mind based.
Yeah.
And that is the opposite. I mean, I enjoy that. I appreciate that. I listen to that sometimes, but that is not what I do.
You're a fan of the cerebral writers.
I think that the cerebral writers are great, but what I'm really a fan of more than that, I mean, I'm a fan, but I don't do that. And what I emulate are writers like Stevie Wonder, like Abby Lincoln, who write from the heart.
Abby Lincoln, that's who I missed the other day. I wanted to.
So Abby Lincoln is a jazz singer.
Can we check Abby Lincoln out?
She was a wonderful jazz singer.
I don't even. I'm learning.
Her voice is like the most rich, awesome voice, but her songs there's a simplicity, and it's all about emotion. It's all about how it makes you feel.
There she is.
You know, oh yeah.
There she is. See, like, I enjoy this podcast for so many reasons, but one of them is this. I get educated.
Oh, to music.
Regularly.
Yeah.
Like,
and my friend Bear, who lives in Humboldt County, turned me on to Abby Lincoln, like, I don't know, probably 30 years ago. Maybe 26 years ago or something. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the year, but it changed my life.
Does she have a song that I would recognize the medley to?
Well, I don't know.
Like a hit or?
I mean, one of my favorites is, I think about the life I live.
Okay.
A figure made of clay.
Okay.
And think about the things I lost. The things I gave away. And when I'm in a certain mood, I search the halls and look. One night I found these magic words in a magic book. Throw it away. You can throw it away. Give your love. Live your life each and every day, but keep your hands wide open and let the sun shine through, 'cause you can never lose a thing if it belongs to you. That's one of her songs.
Sorry. I had to. Amazing. She and civil rights activist.
Yeah, she was absolutely amazing. And I got to see her in Oakland.
You did?
And I got to meet her because our waitress, at the place that we went, you know, she was older. She lived for another 10 years or so after I saw her. But the waitress was like, oh, you know, where are you from? You know, I haven't seen you here before. And I was like, oh, we came from Oregon. She's like, did you come all the way from Oregon to see Abby Lincoln? I was like, yeah, she's like my favorite singer. And so she brought us back. She told Abby when she was serving her, and then she said, oh, bring those girls back. And so we got to talk and stuff.
No way.
It was really sweet. And I was like, she's like, what do you do? I said, I'm a folk singer. And she's like, I'm a folk singer.
You're like, well, I know that.
I'm like, you're the goddess.
You're like.
So I got to go all fangirl. It was really special.
I think it's always interesting when you meet the people that you idolize. You know what I mean?
I mean, she was just a real normal person.
And then that happens.
Yeah. And that's fine. To me, it's all about her music is so moving, and that's what I love.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it is for me. It's all about that. Like, does it do something here? You know, does it get me here? If it gets me here, that's cool. You know, I'll be like, do, 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 bop, bop, bop. But I don't hit replay. I hit replay when it hits me right here.
I met Crazy.
Or in the gut.
I met Crazy Bone 2 weeks ago in LA outside this theater. He was just outside and I was there and I was like,
you're like, hey.
I was like, hey man. He's like, what's up? And he was just totally normal.
Yeah.
And then I did the fanboy thing. I was like, can I take a picture with you? He's like, oh, sure, man. And I was just like, and he's like, and then like, Crazy Bone, you're all good. Because we had a COVID rapid test and he walked in. And I was just like, I just met Crazy Bone. And he was just like my brother. He was just so nice.
Yeah.
So
People are, I mean, most performers, you know, people think, oh, and there are some that are really weird. I mean, I have met some, and I'm not going to say who, but I've met some because I've opened for people that
I want to talk about who you've opened
very
for.
Very bizarre, but most people are nice. I mean, that's what I feel like is really important for us as humans on this planet right now to realize is that most of us are nice people.
Yeah. It's not like everybody's an asshole.
Like, let's lift each other up. You know?
And you've opened for Bonnie Raitt.
Oh God, that was so
Joan
awesome.
Baez.
Yeah, together those
Come on.
two.
That's how did let's rewind that. I'm sorry, I jumped the timeline there. I want to know how a woman who's playing guitar, writing songs in a band called White Rabbit, right?
Well, I didn't play guitar in the band.
Okay,
but yeah, but
goes from New Jersey to opening for Joan Baez and living in Southern Oregon. How did we get here?
Oh, okay. So there's a bit more to the story. So, I was 17, enter the Grateful Dead.
That is like an airline or a train that's brought people to Oregon.
So I basically went on tour. I started touring in 1982, much to the dismay of my parents. Then I toured for a lot of 82 and 83. I ended up living on the streets of San Francisco for a while. And then I was just like, first I lived outside of Santa Cruz, and then I didn't have that place to live anymore. So I went to San Francisco, and I was just like, I don't want to live here. I don't want to do this. So
why?
Because I didn't want to be on the streets. Because I was having to stay up all night because I didn't have anywhere safe to sleep. And then I'd sleep in the park for part of the day, and then I'd go and busk and get enough money to go down to the Ital restaurant on Haight Street. And then I'd have to go back to sleep and then wake up and be up all night. And I like hung out with like these, you know, older women who kind of were just watching out for me on the streets, you know.
So it was like that San Francisco dreaming fantasy.
No,
right?
It was not a fantasy.
If you're going to San Francisco.
It was not
You
fun.
get there, it's like crickets and sleeping on the street.
Well, I had friends that I could stay in the van, but yeah, it just wasn't a happening scene for me. And I wanted to be more involved with people, and I didn't want to just be on the street. So I ended up going to school in upstate New York, which is what I had originally planned to do.
Where? Canandaigua?
No, at
Rochester.
New Paltz.
New Paltz.
Yeah. It's a little town kind of like just north of the city in Ulster County. It's just really beautiful little spot. And I met some amazing people there. And I went there for 2 years. And I started studying music therapy. And I loved the music portion, and I loved the idea of music therapy. But what music therapy was, what I realized after 2 years was, oh, okay, so I'm going to be in the hospitals doing this stuff, which is really cool. But I had another calling. Like my calling was performing. Like I'd be playing every Friday night at the coffee house, and then that was what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And I wanted to have time to write, and I just realized that music therapy was definitely part of me, and that it would be part of my music but not from that perspective. Like I would do it in my own way from the stage.
Okay. Like a hybrid style.
Well, no, it's not really a style. It's just, I mean, music is therapy to me.
That's what I mean. You're not like in a hospital.
Yeah.
Or an old folks home.
It helps people.
Took it to the stage.
I just needed to do my thing. So, okay. And I don't know if that was just my little ego wanting to have attention, you know, or whatever, but I honestly just felt called. It was like I was called. I had to do this. I didn't have a choice.
You answered the call.
Yeah. So I just said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So it was 2 years. I'd gone to school for 2 years. And then I had this dream this one night. And my great grandpa, who had died, I think 2 years before, came to me in the dream and said, go to Hawaii. And I was like, go to Hawaii?
It was like a God voice.
It was my great-grandfather. It was my nanu. Yeah, it was my nanu. He was right there. He just said, go to Hawaii. And I was like, okay. And I woke up in the morning and the phone rang and my mom and dad called and they said, Nana passed, my great-grandmother. Nana passed last night. And I was like, well, that's weird. And then I was like, oh, so he swooped in on his way to go get her. He swooped in by to tell me what to do. That's what it felt like to me. I mean, yeah, maybe I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but whatever. No. That's how it happened. So because my Nana passed, I was like, oh, I have to listen to this. So I packed all my stuff up and I moved out. It was the end of the semester was coming. So I moved out and I went to Hawaii. I basically went to the Dead shows, the New Year's shows. Okay. And then I ran into my buddy Graham and his girlfriend Ann and their kid, and they were going to Hawaii too. So we all went together and I ended up, I think I had $60 in my pocket when I landed in Hawaii. But
which island?
Big Island. Mm. But they kind of helped take care, they had a rental car and stuff. I was just hitchhiking around with, my backpack and my guitar, but they had, so I watched the 2-year-olds so they could have a bit of a vacation while they were there. And then I got the lay of the land and I had a camp set up and I kind of stayed there for 5 months. But then I was just another haole on the island. So I was like, yeah, I don't want to be another haole on the island. And because I felt like that culture was just being completely trashed. And I just didn't really want to be a part of that. And so I just said, all right, well, I don't know where I'm going. But I met somebody from Williams. And he was like, oh, come and live on my land in Williams. No problem. You need to be doing music. This is what you do.
Circa when?
Circa 1986.
Okay. That's when you landed.
So then in 1986, I landed here. I hitchhiked I flew to Eugene. I hitchhiked down. I got great rides the whole way down. And then my buddy came to Grants Pass and picked me up.
And then you drove out to Williams.
And then I just camped out there for the whole summer. Was
the ganja as it was?
No, it wasn't really. I mean, everyone had ganja, but it was more guerrilla then. There was nothing was legal. People that grew up in the hills and it was hard work. It was not you were definitely going to work your tail off.
Like mountain weed.
Yeah, it was all mountain. You had to hide it in the blackberries or up in the trees, or you had to find little clearings. I mean, it was a whole nother scene then.
Wow.
There's nothing like this now where you just go and there's acres and acres.
Yeah, right. Acres. But highly conducive for songwriting. Yeah. That lifestyle.
Yeah. So anyway, I didn't do that. I just lived on the land and worked and skinned poles for his buildings. He was building places. He was building little houses, and so he'd cut down the trees, and I'd drag them out of the woods and skin them with the pole skinner, and stuff like that. And then I went and I left that land and went to a different place in Williams and built myself a wiki up, and then I just kind of lived all over Williams for a while, and then I fell madly in love, to the absolute joy of me, but the horror of some people in Williams, because we are 2 little hippie women falling madly in love. So that was a big scandal.
Oh yeah, right.
Big scandal in Williams. Lesbians.
People weren't ready for it.
Lesbians.
Oh my God! Call the sheriff. We've got lesbians here.
And my ex had 2 beautiful boys who I raised with her. Okay. They're now 40 and 36. And
but that's when the music began.
Yeah, so I was writing. My first album came out in 1988, and then Naomi and I fell in love in 1989.
Force of Nature was the band that slowly built over time.
Yeah, that slowly built over time. That's much later.
Yeah,
much later.
Okay.
Make a Change was the first record.
Okay.
And then It's a Miracle came out in 1989, right around the time that Naomi and I fell madly in love. And then things shifted, the culture kind of shifted in Williams a little bit over time. Well, because at first it was really we were freaks. And then slowly a couple other women moved into town that were gay. And so it's sort of things eased up a little bit after a while.
Interesting.
And then we ended up moving to Ashland because the kids needed to go to school and the Williams school wasn't working out for them. So we moved and lived in Ashland for quite a long time.
Ashland, beautiful.
Yeah.
I think I went to the bike kata race in Ashland. And that was my first memories of Ashland. There was a little restaurant. What was the name of that restaurant, Dad? The Kata House. On the way to Phoenix, I think, in between. Yeah. And I remember going to Ashland for my first time. Nice. And doing a bike race with my dad.
That's awesome.
And we camped at the Wellsprings. Right?
But it was Jackson Hot Springs
Jackson
back then.
Hot Springs, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Ashland was very small and different then, and so was Grants Pass. I mean, my first Grants Pass experience, besides coming through to go to Williams, was I had to hitchhike to town to go to the farmer's market for food. And I got like totally harassed by these guys throwing stuff at me, telling me to go back to Mexico. I'm like, Italian, but whatever. Sicilian, maybe I should go back to Sicily, even though I've never been there. But, you know, that really opened my eyes to how things were very different than they were in New Jersey.
Yeah, you landed. It's interesting. You landed in Williams, moved to Ashland, saw Grants Pass, right?
Well, yeah. When I lived in Williams, Grants Pass was town.
Okay.
So this was town. So
right. That's what it is for us in the Applegate.
Yeah, it's
this going into town. Yeah.
Go to town. Go to Grants Pass. So I would just hitchhike into town to get my supplies, and most people were really nice. But then I had those those few experiences that left me with a little bit of like, oh, okay. But I mean, on some level, like that left me to really be. It gave me understanding and compassion for what it must be like, you know, for people of color here.
Yeah.
You know,
like a small fraction of what it must be like.
Yeah, like a tiny little fraction, but it still opened my eyes. It was like,
has it changed for you since then?
I mean,
all around,
me, like
all the cities, Southern Oregon.
Things have changed. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't even venture. How do I say this? I don't really feel like it's my place to even say whether it's changed in that regard. Because I need to listen.
Yeah, we don't know.
Because even though that was my experience then, that's not my experience now.
Yeah.
Because now I'm not seen that same way. But I do a lot of listening.
Yeah.
And I do think that's really important. So I'm going to be asking that question and listening for the answer.
Yeah. I kind of just asking you to see what you think because you've seen.
I mean, I think that it's a lot of those folks went into hiding.
Yeah.
And they've come back out and maybe they'll go back into hiding, but I don't necessarily think the attitudes have changed.
Okay.
And I think that's sad. And I just, you know, I hope that, I don't know. You know, I'm someone who really wants to foster love among everyone.
Yeah, your music is.
You know, that's what it's about for me.
About that. It's what you're about. I've noticed.
But I also really feel like part of that is to foster a sense of listening and listening to other people's experiences. So I don't always want to be talking.
Yeah.
You know, especially on these subjects, because I feel like there's other people that can articulate things much more clearer than I can. And I can just be a support. And that's something that I need to do.
Let's slide a little bit to the left of this. Let's talk about this music and this journey and this train you started firing up. I mean, you fired up a train. How many albums do you have?
I think it's 15.
You have 15 albums, Alice.
Is it 15? I think it's 15 or 16, depending on if you count one of the live ones that was a limited release.
I count it.
All right, so I think 16.
It takes so much to make that happen. And especially when, you know, being a female for over 3 decades in the game, you encountered all sorts of terrains and obstacles.
A lot of bumps in the road.
To say the least. How has that been being a woman in the music industry for over 3 decades into the now and current moment time? Present.
I mean, it's interesting because I didn't really embrace the industry so much as try to create my own thing.
Yeah, I noticed that you, in one of the things you said, you kind of bucked the label.
I mean, like, because I had some little sniffers, you know, I had the big dog sniffing around, but their idea was to like get me a stylist and, you know, change my lyrics and get me producers and all this stuff. And I was just like, I'm trying to figure out who I am. I'm trying to develop myself. I want to develop as a musician.
Yeah, I like that. You wanted to be you.
I want to be me. I want to develop. I knew that, you know, I mean, some people say, okay, well, you need to like be perfect out of the gate, you know? And I was just like, no, I need to be exactly who I am. I need to say what I feel and express something that people can relate to, because there's a whole crew of people that are not interested in mainstream. They've never been interested in mainstream.
Yeah, they just kind of forced it.
And we're not interested, like, you know, not interested in it. So why would I want to try to be more mainstream when I've got, you know, a whole group of people that enjoy what I do and that want to hear what I'm saying and what I have to offer from my heart.
Yeah.
Not from like me trying to like mold myself into being the next whoever.
Yeah.
You know, so I just kind of did my own thing, and I made a lot of mistakes, and I had a lot of really good people helping me and supporting me along the way. And then I had a lot of people that, you know, would like to just like cut me off at the knees if they could. And I mean, I just sort of took the good with the bad, and or the bad with the good, or however you want to say it. And I just kept trucking on, you know, like, okay, every album I learned something new. You know, every time I'd go into a studio, I'd learn something new. I worked with some amazing engineers and producers. And then I worked with, you know, every once in a while I'd have somebody who really just didn't have any respect for me at all. So then I would just leave. I didn't, you know, if I didn't feel like they got what I was doing, I just didn't stay. I just moved on to the next thing, you know?
Yeah. How did you land at the country fair the way you know, the presence you have there? How did you get there like that?
Well, in 1987, I was in a band called the Old Growth Singers, and it was with a bunch of people out in Williams, and we basically formed this band around the Earth First movement and all this, you know, stuff like a bunch of timber sales that were happening that were in the roadless area that we wanted to stop. So we formed this band and we started singing together, and we got in, one of them got us into the country fair. And so I played the country fair with them, and then I put out Make a Change the next year, and I sent it in.
That's 80.
That was 87.
87, boom.
And then 88, I did my first solo shows there.
This is like in the first stages of the fair.
Well, the fair's old. I mean, the fair started in 1969.
I mean, in the beginning of it becoming prolifically like the spot to be.
I mean, I don't know. I think the fair's always kind of been it's always been a thing, you know.
I concur.
It's the beginning of my era there for sure, you know, and that's what I know, but I don't know. And then you know, Mose was doing Mose, who does the fire breathing and sword swallowing.
Yeah, which I don't understand.
It's so epic.
I just
oh my
don't
gosh.
get
I
it.
sang at his wedding, and he did that while I was singing. It was so cool. And I did one midnight show we did together, and he had me singing this song, and he did that. And I had to close my eyes because I was like totally going to forget the words and everything.
Midnight shows are crazy.
The midnight show is crazy.
It is the crazy experience.
I love the midnight show. But anyway, so I started my first official fair as Alice was in 88.
Okay.
And then I played a lot of fairs. I mean, more recently, I haven't been there as much.
Yeah.
But there was an era that it was a huge part of my life. And I kind of, it's sad because I do miss it sometimes.
I miss it so much.
You know, and I'm missing it right now.
You know what I miss about it?
What?
Is that it's just pure, unadulterated love. Like when you go there and it's just love. And I always think, man, if the whole world was as loving and giving like this, I'd be super famous, you know? You know what I mean? Then you come out to the real world and you're like, damn.
I got to work a
Get
lot
out of
harder.
here, you Mexican lady. Like, you know, like that's not the fair. The fair is all love, you know?
Yeah, but you know, there's an underside to everything.
I know. It's
There's
the
an
game of,
underside to
I call it
everything.
great game of hippies, like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, shout out to the fair. Thank
Love
you for inspiring me. All fair
thank
family.
You, OCF Fair family.
We miss you.
We do.
I mean, if
We
you said
do.
it was going down next week, I'd be like, I'm there.
Yeah,
I'm
me
there.
too.
I'm there if the fair was next week.
Yeah. So it's been a little crazy the last couple years, but and then, you know, I haven't been there as much, but it was a huge part of my life. I mean, my kids were raised there. Like we'd bring them, we had the wagon, we'd pull the little guy around in the wagon. And I mean, this is back when, I guess the statute of limitations is up, but when we first started going to fair, they had the buttons. And so the buttons, and we called them the star-bellied sneetches. Those were your stars.
Yeah.
And so my son, we'd collect all of our buttons and we'd give them to him, and then he'd go pass all of our friends in that we wanted to play music with at night that didn't have passes.
Yeah.
And then they'd give them back to us, and he was so good at it. It was kind of hilarious. He had his little job. He was like the button smuggler.
So you brought in trogs.
I guess, but back then it wasn't like that. It was like they were all of our friends that we played music with at the fire, and like if they weren't there, it would have been terrible. Like they were all these awesome musicians that we do like all night fire circles all the time. And at the fair, they weren't like, I was on the stage because that's what I did, but that wasn't their thing. They were like on the rainbow circuit.
Can I ask you a question? The acoustic fire pit at the fair where the musician camp, is that where it was going down?
No, it was mostly in the Ritz.
Okay.
Or like just on the path, we'd like pick a spot, and there wasn't necessarily a fire, but like we'd have a candle. Like we'd find like different people's booths.
Yeah, like the dude with the
Trillium,
banjo.
the Trillium booth. We always had jams there at the Trillium booth. That so it, you know, I mean that was back in 1989 and 1990. I mean it was kind of a different thing then, and then it became so popular that it was like everybody trying to sneak in, so then we couldn't do that anymore.
Yeah. Man.
But it was fun. It was a really special time, and
it helped you build a large Northwest fan base.
oh, for sure.
It helped me.
Yeah, for sure.
I credit much of my fans to performing late night country fair.
Yeah.
Straight up, Spirit
absolutely.
Tower. All that nice.
You know, for me, it wasn't even late night because we would just have like at night. It would back in my heyday of the fair, there was no late night stages. There was no music at night. There was no electric music at night.
Right.
It was all just like jams.
Yeah.
And people just getting together and playing jams, and we'd play like 60 reggae songs, and then the next night we'd be on folk music, and you know we would just do different stuff. But I would be on the stage during the day. It was Shady Grove, and you know, and then eventually Blue Moon. But first it was Shady Grove, and then I think I was like the first woman to ever play solo on main stage.
Legend. Ladies and gentlemen.
That is not what I'm saying.
I know you're not saying that, but I'm just saying like, yo, we have a freaking legend here. You're a legend. If you're the first female,
so
listen to me. You're the first female to ever play the country fair main stage.
I think like as a full set, I don't know.
Come on.
I know.
That's huge.
I'm not, because David Paul was booking it back then, and he gave me this gig. He was like, I want you to play. And I was like, but I don't have a band. He's like, that's okay.
We got you.
I want you to just play. So I was like, all right. And I was going to close out that day. And then I got a phone call from him, and he said, well, there's this band that, you know, they're coming from Colorado and they're really good, and I can totally have them play before you, but I think you'd rather play before them. And I was like, that's fine. I don't care when I play. And it was string cheese incident.
Oh my God. Really?
And it was really fun because I had so much fun dancing to that.
Holy shit.
And the drummer was like backstage drumming during my set.
Trevor, I'm getting really nervous right now. Why? Because I'm just realizing how big a deal Alice is.
Oh God. Come on. No big deal at all. Okay, should I start making dorky faces?
I'm a fair kid, so not a kid. I'm a fair man. I went to the fair when I was 21. I didn't go. My dad he let me know.
22.
He let me know when I was ready to go to the fair.
Oh, did he go to the fair before you?
Not that much. Because I lived in Eugene, so it wasn't as it's right around the corner. It's not like we did things. We did a lot of fun things. I learned a lot of art, a lot of creative stuff, but fair wasn't part of it till I worked at the Ring of Fire.
Oh, and see, the Ring of Fire wasn't even there when I was there.
So that's how I got into that. And I was sneaking into the tents through past the sweep. I was a trog, which is what they call. I don't even know if that.
I don't know what it stands for.
It means people who sneak into festivals and hide in tents.
Yeah.
And I think that I was the first. No, it might have been Wisdom. No, it was Wisdom. I can't say that. I was the first local hip hopper to ever be on the main stage.
Cool.
Hey, yeah. Not as powerful as first female to ever be on main stage.
Well, I was not the first female.
I think
it was like the solo performer to do like a full set. I think maybe in the
There's
midnight
levels to
show,
this shit. There's levels to
midnight
this
show.
Yeah,
there was always Faith Petrick and all.
I know,
these other
but it
people.
was your songs and you singing and you were the leader and you were in front and it was you.
Well, there was no one else on stage.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's big.
It was fun. It was really fun.
That's really
I still
cool.
remember that set, and I really enjoyed it, and it was sweet, and it was kind of like for me like a heyday where like people knew who I was, so they were happy because people had been the smaller stages. It was hard to fit everybody that wanted to come.
Yeah.
So that was always tough. But anyway, I love the fair. It was it's a wonderful part of my history, and I hope my future.
It will be. I'm going to go ahead and manifest that and project that out there into the stars. I want that to happen.
It's such a beautiful scene.
I remember the last year that we were there. You played, and we played. I do the Spirit Tower. I do oh my gosh, Inspire Drive. It's been a couple years now.
Like,
I'm one of the hosts with Iana. What's up, Iana?
I love you, Iana. I've known Iana since she was.
Oh my God, Martita Santiago. I'm just a big fan of that family in general, and that stage and being a part of that is like, to me, spiritually, that's the greatest reward ever, to go there, make up music for 4 straight hours, improv, and invite children and kids to come up and showcase their talents. It is the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. I get so juiced on it. But you were finishing up your set before we started, and I remember I hadn't seen you play. And I was like, holy shit, man. Like, you're a boss up there. You're a boss up there. And Yana's like, that's Alice. That's Alice DiMicele.
She's my aunt.
Yeah. But you're a professional. And I wanted to kind of, I know this is, maybe I want to bridge this, call it a bridge, a lyrical bridge. But can you pull up the Rise video? So the way I really got to know you is,
that was really special.
You asked for me to do some drone footage, right? And Emily's like, Alice wants you to do some drone footage. You should. Alice is like the shit, man. She was like, she really respects you, you know.
I love Emily.
And I was
love you,
like,
Emily.
Yeah. And I got on the phone with you and I asked you what was going on, and you said this, and I was like, let's just do a whole video.
I know, you did such an amazing
and
job.
It was my first video.
My turn. Where's the like boss babe
I don't have a boss babe button in here. What would that be?
He saw the vision.
I saw your vision. I listened to you.
I had a vision, but he'd made it way better. I had a vision. So a lot of my friends lost everything.
The fires.
Everything in the fires. All band members. 2 of my band members lost all their instruments. My friends lost their places. It was so obviously so devastating. And I just felt like I just wanted to do something, And so, of course, like
the call. You felt the call.
So the first thing I did was start making soup and bringing it down to the Hawthorne Park.
Yeah.
In Medford, where I live. It's really close to my house. So I just started making soup, bringing a big vat every night just to feed people. Cause I was like, I got to do something. And then I wrote this song and then I thought, well, I want to do this video. I see this video and my friend's property, I asked her, I said, could I do a video at your property? Like I wanted to like show the fire, but I wanted to show hope.
Yeah.
And I wanted to show, I wanted to just somehow create something that was supportive.
You can run it, Trevor, because she's narrating this. The song's called Rise, right? You recorded it in your she shed, right?
Yeah, so I have my little studio, Tiny Wonderland, and it was the first song I recorded, the guitar and the voice, and then I sent it around to my buddies to play on. And so I had my bass player play on it. Then I had my drummer friend play on it at a studio. He had lost everything in the fire. Matthew Kremelman, love you, Matthew. He had lost all of his drums. He had one drum kit that he left at the studio, and so it was sitting there. So it was very appropriate that we should use it for the track. Right. And then Gene Black, who's my neighbor, is an amazing guitar player, and he played on it. And anyway, and Brett Levick, who I adore, he mixed it for me, and Mike Wells mastered it for me gratis. Just said, "Oh, I mean,
when musicians get it's time to unite and try and make a change. All we got is recording and playing music."
I know, sometimes, right? I was like, I don't know what else to do. So then I had this gal do the translation because I felt like half or more than half of the people that lost everything were Spanish speakers from Mexico and Central America, and I just felt like I wanted to reach out in some way. So this song was just what that was for me.
And when I say bridge the professionalism thing, I just wanted to say publicly, about as public as it gets, like this. I was super duper impressed with your professionalism and the way you made this video. That's one of my favorite shots.
Oh yeah, that was so epic.
Yeah, but the way you played, some people are like, did she play this live? There's Bear Creek, there's the burn, right? I mean, this is what we're dealing with, like fire that burned 3,000 homes.
Yeah,
4,000.
And this is my friend's place. Yeah. So like all the cars that are burned are my friend's cars.
Melted.
It's just the home. This was a really beautiful piece of property.
Yeah.
And it will be again. It'll heal.
You see the tire right there? The tire treads just melted. Yeah. Aluminum melted. It was like a Terminator 2 came and got in a fight and got melted into pieces.
Yeah, and my drummer's drums, all of his drums, his basses, his guitars, like everything in these fires. So
Kirby?
Yeah, Kirby.
This is Curbs.
Yeah.
Kirby, we love you, man.
And my girlfriend Donna owns this place, and so she had a bunch of her stuff there. It's like her home. It was, it's her place.
Yeah. But the professionalism, you used your powers to raise money, bring awareness, and send a message to not only the gringos, but los que hablan español también. And it was really cool to actually use my Spanish skills to actually, because I remember we finished this video, and you're like, now we need translations. And I was like, oh my God. And I stayed up till 4 a.m. putting these translations on this video. And I remember, so glad that my dad put me into a Spanish school to where I could know when these things would be on the screen the right way.
Right, no, so they could be on there
in the right time. Yeah. And so it just flowed for anybody who was a Spanish speaker listening. But also, like, what I'm trying to say is when I listen to this video, if anybody gets a chance to watch this video, you should go check out Rise. But when you listen to the song and then you watch it, it feels like you're playing and singing what I'm hearing. And that's what I mean by professional. I've done so many videos with people where they just don't, you can tell they're not playing what is going on with the music. But when I watch you, I was like, dude, I feel like, is she playing these chords right now?
Well, I just played along.
I know, but you were so on point. You see what I'm saying? Like it was very accurate, executed very well. Like your precision of your acting for the video, because you have to act.
Yeah,
it's you're pretending you're playing, and
exactly.
It's like, but you did it so clean that it made me look really good at my job. I was trying to, you know what I mean? Yeah, you did it. Yay. You did it, and I was like,
I think you're just really good at your job.
This lady, no man, this lady she's a pro. I told Emily, I was like, yo, when I got home, because we did it, we shot it this night, went to your house, we had some Thai food, made a rough edit that night, right? Mm-hmm. So we did it, shot it, edited it one night. And I turned to Emily, I was like, yo, this can happen this way because she is a pro. And I was like, I told you. Sometimes she gets into her little like,
Emily, you got the told you so on that
yeah,
one.
y'all gonna get. She does her little accent. It's great. So.
Well, I'm really thank you.
No,
this is my chance to say publicly thank you for doing that, because it was such an honor to work with you, and it was great to get to meet you and hang out with you.
I love meeting people through music first. You know, like gets rid of all the bullshit. Like, okay, really, like this is what we do. What do you want to do? What do you see? Because I see it. I kind of see it.
But you took the vision to such a good place.
It was,
and it made, because I was thinking of using like all kinds of footage and other videos of the actual fire, and then we realized like just the emotion of it was also raw, that just being in one place and just exploring that was enough, and it would be powerful enough, you know.
So what happened with this song and video? What was the plan after we made it?
Well, it went around to a bunch of different places, and it was
featured on radio. You texted me one day, you're like, yo, it's playing on.
Oh yeah, it was playing on the radio in the Valley.
Yeah.
They played the song on the Valley, and they played it on a bunch of different stations all over the country, actually.
Yeah.
Not a huge amount, but because I didn't really have the money to like print CDs and send them out and pay someone to do all that. So it kind of just organically did what it did. But for me, the idea was I just had to do something to try to raise money and to try to like help just with the spiritual aspect of our community and the loss that we all felt. Because even those of us who didn't lose everything, most of us, I evacuated. Almost everyone I know had to evacuate.
Yeah. They always say you can tell the true nature of someone by how they react to, when something shitty happens, how do they respond? Yeah. I always look at people's characters when something shitty happens. How are they going to be? Like, oh, they're broke for the first time in 10 years. How are they going to treat me? How are they going to be?
Yeah.
Some people crash, some people rise, and like, you were met with tragedy, and look what your first instincts were to do. And that says, to me, speaks a lot about your character as a human. And I respect that.
Oh, thank you.
That makes sense.
I mean, for me, it was just like, I had to get it out of myself, the trauma, but I also just felt like I can use that to try to do something good for other people. Because so many people did lose everything. Mm-hmm. And like, there were tons of, they played it on there was a TV station that played it, the whole video as well.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. And that was a big fundraiser. They raised a ton of money.
Yeah. See, you raised money.
So that was like the whole thing. It was like, well, if we can raise awareness. And then like, I felt like, cause I have a fan base all over the country, not just the Rogue Valley. So, and some people all over the world, I thought, well, if I get this out and I have a link to the local organization that's helping people, maybe we can raise money from people outside, which, that was part of the whole thing too, was just to try to like, and also just garner compassion from other parts of the country.
Yeah.
Like when disasters happen, I mean, like any disaster that happens, we're always doing like the Armory. Like we always get Greg Frederick, love you, Greg Frederick. And I usually just like something happens, hurricane, whatever happens, around the world. And we're like, jump into it, put on a benefit.
Yeah.
And this time it was like, we got to do that for our peeps here.
Yeah.
But because it was COVID, so we did the,
was there just a delay? How'd that happen?
No, that was me. I said they shot it. They shot a lot.
Well, we shot a lot of that footage here at the Hive.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we shot a lot of it.
You're like, here. You got a hype man over here.
So yeah, like Petty Thievery.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to go there for a second, because all these albums, this is you. This is your character. This is you. This video is you. This is Alice DiMicele, right? What the fuck is Petty Thievery all about? What is this? Because you have killers. I mean, sorry, nurturers in this band, like ice cold veteran killers.
Yeah,
this band is an elite squad.
It's a great band.
And you're playing one of my favorite songwriters ever's music.
All Tom Petty,
really?
All the time. So Brett and I were mixing One with the Tide, the album, my last studio album that I released. And there was this joke because on one of the songs he had these drums and I was like, I love the Tom Petty drums, but not on this song. And we just laughed because he was like, oh yeah, Tom Petty drums, because they sounded like Tom Petty drums. Yeah. And so we started talking about Tom Petty and how much we loved him, and how I was like, oh yeah, I've always had this fantasy of doing a Tom Petty tribute band or a Tom Petty cover band. Yeah. And he's like, I've had that fantasy, and I talked to Matthew about it or whatever. Like, we started talking about it, and then Tom Petty makes his final exit.
Right.
And so then we were just kind of spooked. But then the next year we just decided that we were like, we really need to do this. And then it took us about a year, and then we pulled it off. We decided that we were going to do it. So we put the band together.
I love it.
And it's so much fun for me as like the folk singer, songwriter. It's all about Alice. Like I get a little, I mean, to me, the music, it's all about the music. Yeah. I get a little uncomfortable with the like, Alice, like if it's about me, like, yeah, I don't know what to do with that. Because
no, what it is you're not there for that part of it.
Yeah.
I'm not there either at all. That's why I like Free Creatures, because Emily gets all that shit. I'm like, take it, girl. I'm going to be over here in the back. I will be the guy in the back all day. As long, but I want to play. But I don't want the
So I've learned to deal with that, and I'm fine with, like, I know how to, there's a reflection that happens, and we can talk about that if you want, but to the Petty Thievery thing,
stay there.
It's so incredible for me to not have to just be Alice. Like, I'm just this chick that's singing and playing the guitar in
Let's
the
get
band.
some Petty Thievery pictures up on this beeping screen, man.
So fun.
I want to see this. We're gonna pull up a picture. All right, it's on her website. You can look up Petty Thievery. It's in the center,
or just pettythievery.com.
You have a great press photo. I want to pull up the people. You can introduce the people in the band. But while he's doing that, I want to just say, for me, Petty, a freshman in high school, I was madly in love with this girl, and You Belong Among the Wildflowers. That came out, and I was like, made my mixtape for her, and that was my first song.
I loved mixtapes.
And that song, man, that song is a great love song because it's the most sweetest. Like I really do like a lot of what Tom Petty did.
No, his songs are incredible.
He's pretty amazing, pretty badass. Yeah.
And the thing is, what I love about him, again, hearkening back to my Stevie Wonder comments and my Abbey Lincoln comments, is that his music hits you here. It doesn't hit you here. Yeah. It hits you here.
Heart chakra.
Or here. Yeah. It just gets you in your guts, in your where you feel. Yeah. And I like music to make me feel, and I try to make music that makes, that offers up feelings, not so much because I'm so in my head that music just bring me out of that, like I've got to get out of my head. That's what music does for me. That's the gift of it.
Look at that. Squad. Yeah. I'm already scared. Looks like Bill Murray's their drummer. He looks like Bill Murray.
So
does he not look like Bill Murray?
It's Jeff Adicott on bass, far left, and Mark Thomas Johnson on keys, and Mark is a badass. They're both badasses. Okay. Then Matthew Kremmelman's the drummer in the hat.
Bill Murray. Look, he looks like Bill Murray.
And then Gene Black has the electric guitar. He's like the lead guitar guy.
Yeah.
He's a badass. He used to play with Joe Cocker.
Okay.
There's me, obviously. And Mr. Brett Levick, who is just an incredible songwriter in his own right and producer and amazing guitar player and a great singer. So we have a lot of fun. And we take turns. Mostly Brett and I sing the leads, but Gene sings the leads on a few.
A couple things come to mind. Can we pull that picture back up? I feel like you've got a couple undercover people living in Southern Oregon. It looks like Brett looks like Kurt in hiding. Bill Murray, who's your drummer? I'm sorry.
Matthew Kromman.
Matthew looks kind of like Bill Murray in hiding. This is off the top. I'm not trying to take away anything or be disrespectful at all, but those guys kind of give me the vibe, dude.
They're
I'm like,
the thing is, they're all like really good at what they do.
I know
so.
that squad. That's the squad that you got to respect that squad, right?
It's so much fun.
Is it that's your like super fun detached from the Alice DiMicele journey? Like,
and
just
it's really nice for me to have that because it just gives me like a whole different outlet.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's really fun. And my friend Stacy Sandler did the logo for us, and Stacy, she did that logo and then she passed away like 3 weeks later. So it's always going to be so special for me to have that. I met Stacy on Grateful Dead tour in 1982. 1983, we really connected at Red Rocks, at the Dead shows at Red Rocks, and we jammed. She was a really good guitar player and singer, and we would play so much music. So it's really extra special for me that I have that from her. She also did the album cover for me for my album called Lucky Dogs.
What was her name one more time?
Stacy Sandler.
Her name was Stacy Sandler, Trevor. Okay.
Yeah, she was a lovely human.
I love logos.
Yeah.
I like that logo.
So that, that's fun.
So this is how often do you get out with Petty Thievery and play?
Well, the last time we played was here for that benefit because of COVID.
Yeah.
We have a show scheduled July 30th at Grizzly Peak Winery.
Okay.
And that's
put that one on the calendar, folks.
That's the only one we have on the calendar for the summer so far.
Okay, we're in COVID now. We're in it, and
hopefully we're gonna get through it.
We're in it. We're getting through it. You booking is interesting right now. People are asking for commitments, and I'm just like, I'm not. I need to know more. I need to see. I'm keeping my schedule open. I've got a couple gigs.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of like holding it for a second. I'm not trying to like, okay, we're gonna plan a world tour. No. You can't. But for you, it seems like you kind of just reclused a little bit into a hole.
I did.
And you dealt with.
I dug in. A
lot of grief and when you go this hard for so long, it disrupts the river. And how did you, because it disrupted my river.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, my flow is fucked right now. Excuse all the language, but being real, like,
no, real,
when you got your knees chopped out from underneath you and you're just like, what in the hell? And you're like live streaming for your iPhone and that's a show in your house. I'm just like, this is not what I signed up for.
I know.
What was that like for you?
Very bizarre. I had a whole tour scheduled and, it was interesting because I had talked to my husband, my rock, I love you.
Yeah, shut up. Let's talk about him.
Jeffrey, I love you.
He's so cool, man. You're a cool dude, man.
You are.
Dude. Yeah, you're a good guy. So
he can put up with this and he's solid for me. Like I'm so grateful.
Keeps cats fed.
Keeps.
Right?
Yeah, so COVID happens. I had a whole tour planned. He planned to come on the road with me. I got the Sprinter van.
Yeah, which is dope.
I got the Sprinter van all pimped out. I was super stoked for me and him and the dog to go on the road. And we had somebody to take care of the cat at home.
That's kind of the dream.
And that was like
That's
the dream, right?
Spring.
I had like 9 months worth of gigs planned.
Oh my God.
I had, like we'd come home for periods of time and then be able to go again. And it was like, it was happening. I worked my tail off. And you know what working means? It means sitting at the computer.
Which I hate.
And talking on the phone.
I hate
and
all
sitting
that.
at the computer. And talking on the phone. And sitting at the computer.
Pretty much.
And talking on the phone. And booking and booking and booking. And driving myself crazy. And then having to go to the pool and swim a while to like get that stuff out of me.
Yeah.
And be sane for the evening. And then practice. But I had all this, and then I did 2 shows
No.
of the tour.
Oh no.
My last show was March 7th in Eugene
Where?
at Tsunami Books.
I love Tsunami
It was
Books.
a great show, great vibe in there.
Remember
Love
Tsunami?
that place. So if
yeah.
you need books, go to Tsunami Books.
I buy him
They
presents
are
from
the
Tsunami all the
best
time.
bookstore, independent bookstore. Shout out to Scott.
Yeah.
Love you, Scott.
Scott, we love you, man. Good shout out. I like that shout out.
Yeah, that's a great bookstore. It's a great business to support. And that was my last show. And then the shutdown happened. And then it was just totally nutty. And I just did live streams I did the love stream every week from my house until July. And then, I had some pretty big loss. Really dear friend, ex-partner, pretty much walked into the wilderness, and in February. And so by March, I was reeling already and grieving pretty deeply.
That's the grief you were.
So I was already in pretty big grief. I would have gone on the road with the grief.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened, so then everything stopped. And then I did the love streams every week until July when my dog passed.
Oh my
And
God.
my dog was like my soulmate. And
It's like 20 straight weeks of 20 straight weeks of love streaming.
yeah, and then I just couldn't.
What was your dog's name?
Roxy.
Her name was Roxy.
She was the sweetest. And so then that happened, and then I just stopped doing the love streams for a while because I just was like, I have nothing to give.
I know.
I just didn't have anything
it just
to
felt
give.
like
I was just like, But in the meantime, like while I was home, while I've been home through COVID, I've built my little studio. I got I got a really nice couple mics.
Yeah.
I got some good equipment, like things that I could do with my computer so I could record. And that's how I did Rise. And I started like realizing that I could do things differently. Now, the way I normally record a record is I usually put together a band, bring the band into the studio, play the songs live, and record everything at once. And then maybe add a little extra guitar, or if I need like some extra instrument, that they weren't in the band. But it's usually me in the rhythm section, and all of our stuff's live. My vocals are live, my guitar's live, all of that's live. So doing it the way that I'm doing it now is a completely different beast. But it's really fun, and I'm learning it. I'm learning new skills, and
you got a nice microphone.
Yeah, and I'm able to help friends, like my girlfriend Danielle Kelly has come.
It's Instagram time, Trev.
She came into the studio, and I got to record some. She's got a really awesome album coming out, so listen for Danielle Kelly,
Soul what's up?
Project album.
She's a workhorse too. She's been doing it. There's the cats I mentioned.
Yeah, my kitty.
And that's the she shed right there, the studio right there. I see it on the left. So that's your ribbon mic you were telling me about?
Oh, that's the tube mic. Yeah.
Tube mic?
Yeah, it's really sweet. And so, I'm able to record other people and myself, which is really fun.
Okay. And your garden is awesome, by the way, in the back. It's
I love my garden. And there's my buddy Hera.
Yeah, let us know, navigate us through this Insta real quick. Just
tell us who's who. The cats.
What do we got?
So Roxy passed away in Roxy was my dog, and she passed away back in July.
Okay.
And then Grace, our cat, the one that sat on your lap.
Yes.
She passed away in November.
What?
Yeah, she was getting really old back then, and she just walked off and passed away in November.
Would you say that you're a cat lady?
No, I'm more of a dog person.
But you post so many.
Look at her Instagram.
Jeff's more of the cat person.
Yeah.
But now I've become, because I love them. Look at them. Look at how cute they are.
They're tigers.
So that is Fleep, the little guy. And if you scroll back down, that's Fleep.
Okay.
It's Philippe, but I call him Fleep, F-L-E-E-P.
Mm-hmm.
And then, see, that's Grace. That's Grace that was on your lap.
Oh.
She was trying to bug him while he was doing his video. I had to pull her off of there.
Okay.
But then if you scroll back the other way, you'll see Lima. Lima is the mama cat. Lima and Fleep came. See, you can see them snuggling and stuff. And that's Lima right there with snuggling me. Oh, yeah, and there's Jeff with Lima and Fleep on his lap.
That's Jeff. Those are the cats.
Yeah, so that's my family right now.
I love it.
And I love animals. I love all animals.
Yeah.
I really miss having a dog. I tried to get a dog, but it didn't work out
Okay.
with the cats. The cats weren't that.
Maybe it's
into
cat
it.
time.
Yeah, so it's cat time.
It's cat time. It's cat time down here.
But anyway,
It's dog time.
You were
It's dog
asking
time
me
up there.
something totally different. And
She-Shed,
I
studio,
studio,
ribbon mics. You're mixing, quarantine. Are you pulling your own mixes out of quarantine? Are you rising from quarantine,
So-
mixing and recording your own music?
I'm learning how to mix, but I am working on this record that I'm working on.
Okay.
I'm co-producing it with Brett because I totally
okay.
love and trust him. So I'm recording myself.
Okay.
And then I'm sending the tracks off to other people to, like, Gene plays on one, my buddy, Rob Kohler, my bass player, plays on all the tunes, different drummers and different things. And then, like, David Jacob Strain, another amazing Oregon musician, who I remember, speaking of country fair, the first time I ever saw him, he was probably like this tall with his little guitar, out of tune, but he was so cute and he was so into it. Like, he was like, he everything he had, I could tell. And I was just like, I put my little $5 in his little guitar case and I was like, I'm going to watch this kid.
Yeah.
And now he's this total badass.
Mayday Love Streams and up there with Christopher Worth, doing working with him. And he was at the first open mic I ever went to try and do one of my raps in Eugene at Cafe Paradiso.
my
He was the
God.
host.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, he's great. So he's on one of the tunes.
Okay.
And I'm just like kind of sending him around. And so Brett and I are working. I got different keyboard players and stuff. It's really fun. I'm having a lot of fun doing it this way because then I can kind of like use players that aren't going to all just be in the studio with me at once.
Yeah. This is what we get is what did you do when, there's no word for catastrophe. It's only opportunity in Japanese, right? So this is the quarantine. What are we doing at? What are we getting at?
I'm recreating.
Yeah,
it's like we recreate ourselves and we try to figure out doing something different and we learn new skills. It's all about learning new skills to be able to help.
Yeah. And this is the journey that we went on through quarantine. And here we are. We made we're here. We have you get to play. You're going to play on Friday. Kind of excited about that. I'm bringing my mom to the show.
I get to meet dad and mom.
I know, very rare, the two in 1 week down here. It's
That's
pretty
cool.
awesome for me personally. Selfishly, I'm stoked. So if I had, I'm going to ask you a fun question now. Okay. And, it's basically something I ask everybody is if I had a Geo Metro, you're familiar with the Geo Metro, right? Mm-hmm. Very
My
tiny.
son used to have one with he painted a picture of, God, my brain is going, The Simpsons, Bart Simpson on it. Bart Simpson was on the hood.
Okay. So let's say, you got a Geo Metro
With Bart Simpson on the hood?
with Bart Simpson on the hood.
Okay.
And it is a traveling time machine only because once you hop in this thing with Jeff, you have to drive nonstop in that tiny little car that gets like 50 miles to the gallon, I think.
Yeah, no, they're really good.
All the way to the tip of Florida. But once you get there, there's prime time plush seats in a mid-sized venue, and you get to pick any musicians from history dead or alive, in their prime, to be the opener, the main support, the headliner. What is that Alice DiMicele show?
You threw me a curveball.
What's that curveball?
Because you said Jeff was in the car.
All right, then Jeff's not in the car.
Because if he was in the car, I'd have to consider.
No, don't think about him.
I'd have to consider his feelings because we have slightly different tastes in music.
No, don't even think about Jeff.
Okay,
this is all about you.
Babe. Love you, babe. But this is my journey.
Yeah, I'm not going to say F Jeff, but like
this is my journey.
Like, this is about you. What is your dream show?
So if I have to drive 3,000
you have to
nonstop miles.
Yeah.
3,000 miles. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Mississippi John Hurt is playing first.
Okay.
Because I never got to see Mississippi John Hurt. And that is like, when I first started playing guitar, I got into Reverend Gary Davis and Mississippi John Hurt and all these old blues guys and started learning all this stuff. And that was like what I thought I wanted to do. But then I realized I'm some white chick. I don't need to be freaking playing. Like I need to create something totally different. I need to create my own music. Like I'm into learning the copycat so I can learn stuff, so I can have skills.
Still like an artist.
Build skills.
Yeah.
And then do my own thing.
Yes.
So
this is the way.
But I would have loved to seen him live, and I heard he was amazing live. Yeah. So, and then number 2 act is I should not have to have her be in this group because I should have gone to see her, and this is my bad. And Alice gets a spanking on this one because I blew it several times. But Joan Armatrading.
Huh? Joan
Armatrading.
See, you got me writing down names.
You don't know Joan Armatrading? Oh my God.
Don't judge me.
Okay, I'm not judging, but you got to check Joan Armatrading.
Do you know who Joan Armatrading is?
Super badass. Super badass. And I blew it. I could have seen her at the freaking Half Shell up in Roseburg. She played for free, and I didn't go because I had a gig or something that I should have canceled so I could go see Joan Armatrading.
All-time musicians.
Yeah.
In their prime, dead or alive.
Yeah.
Joan Armatrading.
Joan Armatrading, number 2.
All right, I'll go check her out. I don't even know. I'm sorry. I
decided to go with people that I haven't seen.
Okay.
Mostly, so Mississippi John Hurt, obviously not alive.
Yeah.
Joan Armatrading is actually still alive, but she's no longer performing.
But this is all them in their prime.
So she's not able to come back.
Okay.
And the headliner's got to be Nina Simone.
Is it Nina?
Nina.
You going with Nina?
Nina.
Like full band, but just still her on the piano?
Oh, Nina. I don't care if she's got a band. I don't care if it's just her on the piano. In her prime. I don't care if she's yelling at the audience.
Yeah.
I want to see Nina.
I could see that.
You know, she is another one of those writers that her music, it ain't about this. It's about this.
Yeah.
And that's my inspiration. Those are my inspirations. So those are the people that, and same thing with Joan, like Joan's music is just so moving. Like that's the music so those are the 3 that I think.
Sort of Abby Lincoln, also the civil activism.
But see, I've gotten to see Abby Lincoln already, and I've seen Stevie Wonder, and I've seen the people that I've seen, I realize I'm not driving 3,000 miles to see him again. Yeah. I already seen that person, but if I could see Nina Simone in her prime, come on. Come on. What else is there? The
Beatles?
The Beatles are great. But why would I want to go with, if I saw the Beatles in their prime, my ears would be destroyed because of all the girls screaming their heads off.
Okay, I like that.
So I have no interest in going to a concert like that.
What about Zeppelin?
Same thing. I would have blown my eardrums out. Zeppelin's great, but and I love rock, but to me, I'm more of a jazz girl. I love jazz. I love, I don't know. I'm just, my passion lies in other directions. And I love all the rock stuff. And yeah, sure, I would have loved to seen Zeppelin.
I like it.
I would have loved to seen The Who smashing guitars. I would have loved to seen Hendrix,
Yeah.
But, this is my Geo Metro.
Yeah, it's your time machine. It's your time machine.
So I get to go. I get to choose.
It's all you. You're driving across to Florida. I'm the more I hear answers, the more I'm leaning towards I'm kind of getting influenced by people, Trevor. I'm getting my picks are changing, and hearing the reasons you picked your picks. seriously has pushed me towards wanting to hear like Beethoven, 36-piece orchestra, him in front, just going fucking nuts, just orchestrating the most epic. I mean, I'm getting spirit bumps, see?
Nice.
Like that kind of thing. I'm thinking like feeling. I want feeling.
I mean, for me, that's what it's about. And like, you know, the idea of the Geo Metro, the time machine for me is, I'm not just going to drive 3,000 miles for my enjoyment.
Yeah, you have to drive 3,000 miles.
This is also an education for me as a musician. I mean, I've seen some of the best musicians ever. Like, I mean, I sat at the feet of Odetta more than once, you know, and like she just, as far as performers go, I mean, she walks out on that stage and you were just riveted, you know, didn't matter what was happening around you, you're riveted because, and she sang lots of Dylan covers and some originals and a bunch of old folk songs and spirituals. And I almost didn't even, she could sing the freaking phone book because her energy was just spirit, you know, God, goddess, whatever you want to call it, creator. That was her. She came in onto the stage with that energy and gave it to the crowd. And so to me, the first time I saw Odetta, I was 20? No, I wasn't even. It was like 1984 maybe. And that just changed my life. It was like, oh, that's what I want to do.
Okay.
That's what I want to do.
So,
I want to just be that tuned in that when I'm singing, that's what it is. It's just all about spirit.
I like that so much. That I feel like this is a good spot to get. I feel like they know they learned about you just now. I feel like you want to sing and be all about spirit, and I think that's a really good spot. I feel like I like that landing.
Yeah,
it's great. That's a mission statement, you know, like just one sentence. But I want to leave people with a little something to get them kind of hooked into the show on Friday.
Yeah, I'm
Everybody
so excited.
tune in. What time are we rolling this one out, Trevor?
8 p.m.
8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yes.
You will be playing here at the Hive. We're going to stream it live. I'm going to be there co-hosting with Trevor.
Yay.
Woo, hey, woo. And I'm really excited about it.
Me too.
And let's give them a little track to hear you.
And since we're on the visual and the audio, the tune that I want to do is Nature Reigns.
Nature Reigns, okay.
And Aaron Moffat did an amazing video for this with lots of footage from the Klamath-Siskiyou region. Okay. All footage from our area. Lots of the footage of me is all from up in the monument.
Okay.
Cascade-Siskiyou Monument. And the song, I mean, to me, it's like that's the spirit, right? Yeah. It's like, to me, nature's my church. Yeah. You know, I can go to any church, but I feel the most connected to the creator, to source, to that whole vibe of everything when I'm in nature. That's my home. Okay. That's the place. So I think that's probably the best song to leave it with.
All right. Then let's do that. We good, Trev?
We're good, brother.
All right, man.
Thank
you,
Trevor. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure to have you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor to have the one and only Alice DiMicele here. She is a living legend, still raging the Phoenix fires, like doing it. Like, you know what I mean? It's just cool to get to know you even more. Not just, you know, step by step, just a little more.
Next time I'm going to ask you the question.
Hey, I would love it. I would love it. You can research me out.
We should do a Marv Ellis version.
That would be cool.
And we'll switch chairs.
Hey, it'd be cool to get interviewed by you. It would be an honor. So yeah, thank you for tuning into the deep dive from the Hive. Thank you again to Alice for joining us. Thank you, Trevor. Thank you, Dad, for staying patient over there and checking it out. It's an honor to have my father here listening and seeing what I do, literally having my back. And tune into the show Friday. And we're going to leave you with Nature Reigns by Alice DiMicele, right? And that's what we're going to leave them with. So thanks for tuning in. And
thanks, y'all, for tuning in.
Check out the show. Friday. Tune in. Subscribe. Like it. Like it. All right, bye, y'all.
Sing along.
Nature reigns amidst the flowers and the trees, out in the rivers and the seas, and we're all the same. Nature reigns. Nature reigns, whether the sky is gray or blue, deep in the city or the woods, and it's all the same. Nature reigns. Some people think they have the answer, and their God is better than the rest. I prefer quiet reflection, and the wind in the trees, the buzz of the bees, this air that I breathe, and this pounding in my chest. Nature reigns, out where the desert cactus bloom, the stars shine as bright as the silver moon, and we're all the same. Nature reigns. Nature reigns. It's time to see we've got no control, neither these bodies nor these souls, and we're all the same. Nature reigns.